You probably don't know me, yet I wanted to explain something about something that has been bothering me for a while now. And I'll do it in my outstanding kitchen English, because it's a worldwide thing. Well, worldwide does in the 0.001% of horse people who have ever heard from clicker training. When you first discover clicker training and it clicks with you, it's like as if there's a switch that flips and it says, positive reinforcement is good, negative reinforcement is evil. Been there, done that. It helps you turn your way of thinking around. So for a while, that's a good thing. It helps you formulate what you want instead of feeling it is normal that a horse knows what to do and you only intervene with upping the pressure when it doesn't do what you want, which is what you did before. But after a while, I'd like you to stop bashing negative reinforcement as a whole. Negative reinforcement is not evil. In fact, negative reinforcement can feel quite overwhelmingly good and is even necessary. The problem is that when horse people think negative reinforcement, they equal that with pressure from legs and hands and ropes and reins and whips and spurs. And yes, all those involve negative reinforcement and even positive punishment. I'm not even going into the fact that pressure isn't by definition aversive. Hugs are pressure and they are nice, unless that hug takes forever, or when it's a hug from someone randomly crossing the street. No, I just want to talk about actual negative reinforcement. Because if you are a good clicker trainer, I hope you do use negative reinforcement quite often. You see, every time you scratch your horse and he feels relieved by it, and you may do that as a reward, it's negative reinforcement. But also, every time your horse tells you he doesn't quite get what you want, and you make your questions smaller so that he can understand what you ask, that's negative reinforcement for him. Every time your horse tells you he feels uncomfortable and he isn't quite up to getting past that obstacle, and then you adapt your tactics so that he feels more secure, that's negative reinforcement. Every time you read his calming signals and you go slower, that's negative reinforcement to him. In fact, being able to read your horse's calming signals and take those as information about where his, and by extension, your mental or even physical safe zone is, then those calming signals are your conditioned inhibitors, which is the third stage of negative reinforcement. If you want to know more about that and you speak Dutch, you can subscribe to a Clicker Academy course. And if not, read up with Murray Sidman or Michael Domian. By the way, did you know that if you help your horse to be a learner with so much self-efficacy that he's okay with tackling challenging puzzles, because you helped him grow into an urgent optimist, because when he has a history of success, because he has learned that he probably will succeed even when it's difficult, and that when he then succeeds, did you know that that feeling of having succeeded at something difficult is negative reinforcement too? The difference between horrible mental states like frozen watchfulness, which is where you are scared to do anything which might be perceived out of line, and that you are so busy watching every move of your abuser because you want to stay safe. That is conditioned inhibition. But the kind of conditioned inhibitors that I talk about, the difference between those two is autonomy, or more precisely, And I so wish there was a good Dutch word for it, volition, that it is your own choice to tackle a challenge. That autonomous choice of whether you want to do this and understand the goal and feel like you can do it, that makes all the difference about the emotion that comes at the end of it. It's both negative reinforcement, but it feels very different. That feeling of victory, of having won after having put in the effort to overcome something hard, something aversive, that is called fiero. It is what soccer players feel when they scored a goal. Running around and shouting and throwing their arms in the air, that's victory display. It's what a gamer feels when he finally gets the dragon boss down with his team. It's what a stallion feels after having chased off his competitor. It's what your horse feels after he went through his agility course and arrives at the end station. It's what you feel when your horse finally gets something you both struggled with. It's victory. It's where negative reinforcement meets positive reinforcement. So, when you and me have a chat about negative reinforcement, please explain to me first what kind of negative reinforcement you're talking about. Because I talk about the negative reinforcement that makes my horse a winner. Okay, soapbox off. Having said that, what you feel now that my rambling is over is possibly also negative reinforcement.